Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakal Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching the truth and sincerity. And a shout out to Yakians out there in four corners of the earth proclaim this truth. Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakal Barak So, unannounced, they had military drills in Los Angeles. And so, you can expect to see more, but you're not going to get the warnings, just like there was no warning about that. Because, of course, Jane Helm, really, truly, metaphorically, but actually is a military code that means Army After Next. And what is this Army After Next? Well, to prepare for martial law, to lock down people that are resistant to the microchip, the RFID, mark of the beast, to lock them down, but also pretty much to imprison all. Because they send an Army After Next when World War III breaks out. It was always a code. And there's a brother whose channel is called All Rights Matter channel who broke that all down, who was in the military and knows what the Army After Next, Jade Helm, stands for. So that's what's happening. And we saw some of this back in 2015 when Alex Jones had given a precursor that they were going to practice in all the states. But this recent activity in both Long Beach and in Los Angeles wasn't even announced, because they're not going to announce it. They're just going to start doing things. Kind of like here in Redding, when Car Fire event happened, which was a false flag, because you and I both know that the real cause of the fire was the atomic energy weapons, but they try to convince you that it was a tire that had blown, that had sparked the fire. But really, truly, though, they wanted to set that off, because they wanted to lock down Redding. They wanted to downsize. It's always been a downsizing thing. There was a plan to burn Northern California. So you've seen how fast National Guard and everybody else had come in, and half of the city was locked down. And that's what happens, you see, without a warning. And you could expect more. Car Fire, if anything, taught us how fast they can lock down the city, just like that, and how fast they can use their weapons. Because, of course, these same bastards that would do that to Syria, would do that to Yemen, to do that to the Ukraine, of course they would do it over here. Duh. They show no mercy, because you know that them soldiers already have chips, and you know that half of this stuff, they even showed you a drone during the Car Fire now, didn't they? They told you that drone's over there, making sure that everything's okay. So it's somebody behind a joystick that pushes them buttons, because that's then the latest of things. And this is why we call you the devil, because you don't even really get out your seat anymore. You just sit behind a desk pushing buttons, deciding who lives or die. That's why we call you the devil, and that's what we're reiterating. You wonder why we're so mad. Well, for one, you are the deceiver, because that's what devil means. You had deceived us, made us believe a lie, but now we're exposing all your lies. And that pretty much that this place is going to be destroyed in 1 hour, and we're just setting the stage. We are getting you prepared for that. Your church leaders ain't getting you ready for that hour of temptation. They're not getting you ready for Jacob's trouble, because Jacob's trouble is not just going to affect Jake's, it's going to affect the entire world. The whole world is going to feel Jacob's trouble. Pretty much everything that you take advantage of, that you think is great, you're either going to have to get on the microchip and to enjoy those things, which is a very short time, because once that's rolled out, you can best believe World War III is just right around the corner. And so that's just it. This Army After Next, Jade Helm, is getting prepared for that day and hour. So I'm going to read out of Zechariah chapter 14, because it's all about Jerusalem. Now that they're demonizing us on there, because Jerusalem's a people before it's a place, So we're talking about the people of the northern and southern kingdom. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle. Talking about Zechariah 14 here. So that, Tel Aviv, they're going to pretty much being the least of their flock, they're going to launch everybody into this war that they can't get out of. And the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the woman ravished, and half of her city shall go forth into captivity. And the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. So, and we know that that's also representative of what happened when they took down Jerusalem in 70 AD, but also talking about the end times here. Yeah, I still got to hold my sign because, the winds are strong here. Slovak. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem, on the east, and on the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof towards the east and toward the west, and there shall be a great valley, and half of the mountains shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. So I was talking about when Yahushua returns, after we've gotten beamed up and we return with Yahushua into that city, and pretty much we're a people before it's a place, but we will be returned into our land. So that proves right there that this event hasn't taken place yet, even though they're saying that Israel is a state. Well, Israeli state are the imposters, Ashdod. These bastards, which means imposters, are in Ashdod, because that's all that bastard means, when you get right down to the word, but they don't like you to know the real definition of words, but we always go into the definition of words. And you shall flee in the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azai. Yea, you shall flee, like you fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah, and the days of the Lord Yahweh shall come, and all saints with thee. So, what's going to happen is he's going to gather his people from the four quarters of the earth, and we shall go up with him. That is the elect of us, because right now he's just raising up the prophets, the elect, the 1/3, because not all Israel is a prophet. You can see that there's many that are not prophets, and then you got false prophets, false leaders, and they're part of the wicked. Very hard to do this at the same time. There was only a resting place here. Let's see if I can do that. It'll probably blow down anyway. Yep, it's going to blow down. But it should be known in one day, which shall be known to the Lord, not day, not night, but it shall come to pass, and at evening tide it shall be light. So, what's going to happen is he's going to reveal himself, by way of them chariots, the strangeness of his coming. And it shall be in that day, the living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half of them toward the hinder sea. In summer and in winter shall it be. And the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai, shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one power, and his name one. And that's talking about Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai, one. All the land shall be turned as a plain from Geba to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem, and it shall be lifted up and inhabited in her place from Benjamin's gate unto the place of the first gate, unto the corner gate, and from the tower of Hanel unto the king's wine presses. So in other words, we're going to be brought back to our place. We're going to be brought back to our power. Those of us that have stayed true to this, that were faithful unto death, and they're practicing them drills because, this is about to pop off at any time. They could pop off anything. But the Jade Helm is Army After Next. They are preparing. Now that they're demonizing us in the news, they are preparing for that day and hour, because the elites know that the time is short. Woe unto you that dwell on the earth and the sea, for the devil, that is the elites, has come down to you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have a short time. So he's only got a short time for his depopulation agenda, for this World War III event, and to chip everybody that's left, because the Georgia Guidestone says that they want to depopulate to 500 million, that there's too many people roaming the earth. That's why you had ex-president come out with global warming. Did that movie, An Inconvenient Truth. Well, he was the next vice president, actually. He never became president. What's his name? Al Gore. Yeah, he came out with that movie and started pushing that agenda. Now you hear the code word climate change. And isn't that strange, though, that everything should be moving towards spring, but now it's gone back to the dead of winter, the cold. All of a sudden, even though it was starting to move that way. But you see, Esau, he loves to mess with weather modification devices, you know, and he loves to play around with that, just like they show you in the G.I. Joe cartoons, you know. But he's not the real hero. He's the real terrorist. But it's the ultimate terrorist is the one that we pray to. We pray that we are on the right side of him and not the left, meaning that we're with Yahweh Shai and he can redeem us. You know, because only through his blood can we actually be redeemed. Because we're not worthy enough to enter into, but under Yahweh Shai, for he has cleansed us. And that's just it. He cleansed us, the elect of his people. 2/3 of our people didn't want to listen to him and delivered him up to death. And the same thing with the rest of the world. They hated the things that Yahweh Shai had taught. Because, again, you know, you look at it. Who is accepted? Is the name Yahweh Shai accepted? Or do they call him by another name? Well, the one they call by another name, not being his real name and all that, is the one that they catfished us with. You know, and make us think that he was a so-called white man, when in fact he's not. The Son of the Most High is not Jesus Christ, but is in fact Yahweh Shai. And that's the name that they fear, and that's the name that we're coming back to. That's the power we're returning unto, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And they are very afraid because we know that name now, because we could call upon that name. So, pretty much, those that still dwell on the earth and on the sea, this devil, Esau, Edom, has come down having great wrath. You can see them just gearing things up as these practice drills will become more frequent without warning. So, for all that, I want to say, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kadash, Barak Hope this has been edifying. Death to America, death to you 2/3. Shalom.